seems quiet, doesn't it? And empty. On a morning like this, watching the new day walk into the Wichita Mountains, it's like no one else had ever been here. Like you were the only person in Oklahoma. But you'd be amazed who came this way.
Sometimes when I'm up here, I feel I'm high in the balcony of a theater, looking down on a stage where a great drama has been played. An epic adventure filled with a remarkable cast of characters performing unforgettable roles. During that drama of more than 30 centuries, the players created new ways of life, molding old traditions to fit new environments. In their tracks, they left artifacts, shelters, buildings, towns, and landmarks, which were unique signs of their collective experience. Much of that legacy has survived, forming a kind of bridge between the present and the past. It is a legacy which can teach us much about yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
First, there was the stage itself, a setting of forest and mountain and grassland, a land of extremes. For 1 billion years it lay waiting for the curtain to rise. And then, about 30,000 years ago, the cast began to gather. The first players were the wanderers, restless spirits who left shallow footprints in the sands of time. The Clovis people, the Spiro people, who built temples and worshipped the serpent and the falcon. The Wichita, who established temporary villages and hunted the buffalo. Then came the Spanish wanderers, Coronado and De Soto, who sought gold. From the east came explorers and soldiers, opening and taming the new land. In their dust came emigrants and wagon trains, moving west to the gold fields. And from the south came great herds of cattle, pushed to market by range-tough cowboys. Although the wanderers carried little cultural baggage, remnants of their physical legacy have survived. The rock art of prehistoric man, the Spiro mounds and their bounty of artwork and artifacts, archaeological sites where French traders exchanged guns and tools for the Indians' furs, and the famous landmarks which guided them all, Rock Mary, the Wichitas, and the Antelope Hills. Restless migration was the initial premise of the drama that is Oklahoma, but eventually the wanderers were replaced by those who wanted to put down new roots in a new land, men and women willing to stake everything that they could survive the terrible solitudes and hardships. At risk was life itself. They were the gamblers. This era began about 150 years ago when the 5 civilized tribes arrived in Indian Territory. Forced from their ancestral homes in the American Southeast, these tribes arrived with the determination to put down new roots. But they moved forward, developing their own distinctive world. Meanwhile, another breed of pioneers was starting a giant gamble in the unassigned lands. 50,000 people lined up for the biggest gamble of all. It was the Great Land Run of 1889. At 12 noon, the signal was given, and the race was on. On April 21st, the prairie had been empty. By nightfall, on April 22nd, every part and parcel of the territory had been claimed. But winning the land was just half the gamble. The other half was holding on to the winnings. Somehow, the hardy pioneers, both 89ers and Indians, had to survive the cruel seasons and the terrible hardships, and then, somehow, make the land produce. Life was a struggle, but the gamblers endured. Against all odds, they won the land and against all odds they held it. And little by little, they began to build something of lasting value upon the earth.
Sodbusters and Indians, cattlemen and merchants, they slowly changed the land, expressing their cultures in unique buildings, homes, art, and public structures. They were the builders. In the preserved remnants of their struggles, you can see the panorama of history sweep across the landscape.
It was there in the countryside, where farmers raised barns big enough to hold dances in, and built silos where grain could be stored away for hungry cattle. The Indians built tribal capitals and schools, plantations, ranches spread out over the land. The Washington Ranch was so large, it covered thousands of acres of rich prairie. There was a sense of future in the churches raised to nourish the faith of growing communities. Throughout the countryside, towns emerged, and the people built hotels and stores, and libraries and schools. As the people built for the future, they created structures to nourish the mind as well as the pocketbook. Banks were established. The builders created bridges to join their communities together, and railroads to give them access to the outside world, and then built a new industry, oil, to fuel their progress as a state and as a people. Perhaps the crown jewels of the builders' legacy were the towns and cities, a complex and continuing social experiment. This is the historic district of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Created after the run of 1889, it was the first capital of Oklahoma Territory and the first state capital. When you walk these streets, the word historic takes on a special meaning. History is all around you, written in the bricks and mortar of our forefathers' efforts. Their story is here to study and to remember. Builders created cities in Oklahoma primarily for economic reasons, but here and there you can find communities created more for reasons of the spirit. The year was 1903. A migration of former slaves and the children of former slaves came to this place seeking a haven from oppression. By 1911, 4,000 people had gathered, making Boley, Oklahoma, the largest black town in the United States. Oklahomans have always been builders. It is one of our finest qualities. But what we have built is more than merely structures upon the earth. Buildings are simply symbols for something far more powerful. Together, we have built a society. The drama of Oklahoma has been performed by a cast of characters marvelous in their diversity. The beauty of our society can be seen not so much in our similarity, but in our differences one from another. The wanderers, the gamblers, the builders, and there is one other quality we Oklahomans have always shared. We are the dreamers. In fact, the homes, the roads, the schools, the government buildings, everything around us, all is the result of someone's dream. There can be no builders if there are not also dreamers. It is this quality that binds the past and the present so closely. We dreamed of a home in the wilderness, a place to send roots deep into the earth, a place to stay a while, It is a dream we still dream. We dreamed of a harvest, of building a life of abundance in a new land. If we work, if we risk, we will prosper. We dreamed of freedom, a place where free individuals could govern themselves and all could share in the decisions which shaped their lives. We dreamed of renewal and personal growth. Through education, theater, music, and the arts, this dream, too, we share to this day. The past and present are woven from a single fabric. If we were to remove the threads of the past, the fabric would lose both its strength and its beauty. That's why there is one last quality critical to the future of our state, perhaps more important than all the others which define our character. We must be the preservers. To preserve our dreams for the future, we must preserve the heritage of our past, not just our physical heritage, but the qualities of the human spirit, of which the physical heritage is a symbol. By re-exploring the land where our experience was nourished, by honoring the things we've built and the things we've done and the things we've dreamed, by preserving the spirit of adventure and risk-taking of our ancestors, we preserve what is best in ourselves and project it into the future. We are the wanderers, the gamblers, the builders, the dreamers, and the preservers. We are the cast of a human drama called Oklahoma. What a very long run it's been, and it's only beginning.